Am I the bad guy for eating at the same restaurant as my husband's family? I've been married to my husband for 3 years. We dated for 2 years before that. I want to start this off by saying that he really is a good guy in other areas. My husband's parents, his 2 brothers, ages 38 and 40-ish, and his brother's girlfriends and fiancés have a tradition of going out to dinner once a month. I am invited about 50% of the time. I've talked to my husband's brother's fiancé, and she says she's invited every time. When I say I'm not invited, I mean that my husband tells me I'm going to the family dinner. It's probably best if you sit this one out. When I expressed that I wanted to come, he told me that it would be for the best if I didn't. It has caused several fights. About a week ago, my husband went to a family dinner that I wasn't invited to. I was very pissed. So earlier that day, I called and made a reservation at the restaurant they were going to. My husband left the house not knowing about my reservations, and I left 15 minutes after him. I ended up seated at a table where I couldn't see his family, so I got up as if I was going to the washroom and walked right past them. They were all there, including his brothers, SOs. My husband looked completely shocked and asked me what I was doing there. I told him that I had just been dying for a steak, so I came and got one at the restaurant. My mother-in-law said it was very rude of me to interrupt their family dinner. I pointed out that I wasn't trying to join them. I was just going to the washroom. I told them to have a good meal, and I left. I went and finished my steak by myself. My husband was really pissed when he came home, and he told me that he couldn't believe how much of a I had been. I said that he was a for not inviting me to his dinners when his brother's SOs got to go. My husband said that the decision to invite was between him and his family, and I should respect it. So I wanted to ask if I am the am I? Not the bad guy. Divorce him as soon as possible. He and his entire family don't respect you. Take him for all he's worth, and make sure your divorce attorney knows what they have been doing to you. Oh, and we have an update from OP. Update. I left my husband. This week has been a bit crazy, but I feel like I made enough progress to justify an update. Here's what happened. Your comments gave me the confidence to confront my husband about why I wasn't invited, and I wouldn't settle for a cagey answer. So I asked him about it calmly, and he said something like, "Oh, it's just the family decision." So I said, "I'm your family, though. I deserve to know why." He said some very vague stuff like, "Well, you just don't fit in as well as everyone else." And I asked him what he meant by that. He couldn't really explain it. I was thinking about how a lot of you were concerned about the racial dynamics of my relationship. Personally, I had never thought much about it. No one in his family has ever made a racist comment toward me or toward anyone else. But I wanted to cover my bases, so I asked my husband if I was excluded because I was half black. My husband said, and I quote, "No, it's not because of that. You know I don't care about that." The way he said it implied that someone cared. So I asked who cared. He said nobody. I asked if it was his mom who cared, and he hesitated and said maybe. After a long conversation of prodding him, here's the story I eventually got. His mom is not a fan of me. My race might factor into it, but he said it's also about my personality and my political beliefs, and the fact that we went to my parents' house on Christmas Day the first year we started dating. His mom told him that he should think about finding someone who, quote, suited him better, and she encouraged him to take some time away from me. She said the family dinners would be a great opportunity for him to be with his family, where he fit in. I was invited sometimes because the dinners weren't always an excuse to get away from me, but some of them were. I was obviously devastated after hearing that, but it also felt good to finally hear an explanation. I asked him if he thought he needed even more space from me. He didn't even have time to answer before I went into the bedroom and started packing some clothes. I've been staying at my sister's house for a few days now. I haven't contacted my husband. I'm giving him his space. We'll probably end up separating or getting a divorce, but right now it's too early to tell. This was so hard to type out, but everyone was so supportive, and I felt like I owed it to you all. Thank you again for your kindness. I'm so sorry it has come to this, but you are worth so much more than what he is giving you. He's not 100% in, and probably never will be. I'm so glad you are standing up for yourself. Let me know what you would do if you're in this situation down below in the comments, and or not, and why. If you subscribe, remember to click the bell icon for notifications. To enjoy all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description of this video. See you in the next video.